morning students, welcome to today's class. In the last class, we have seen about some of the Mughal rulers and the emergence of independent rulers at that time and some of the independent states, Bengal, Awadh and Hyderabad. Those things we have seen. Here today, the Rajaputs, the kings of Rajaputs, 6 Maratha rulers and Jats. They were and some of the prominent rulers of these and the French Revolution at that time. Here in the political formations has happened. At the same time, the French Revolution also was there in the Western countries. Those things we are discussing in this class.
The Rajputs. After the death of Aurangzeb, the Rajput chiefs tried to establish themselves as independent rulers. Many Rajput kings, particularly those belonging to Jodhpur and Amber, had served under the Mughals with distinction. In return, they were permitted to enjoy considerable autonomy in their Watan Jagirs. Some of them won important posts in this process and became quite powerful. For example, Maharaja Ajit Singh of Jodhpur became the governor of Ajmer and Gujarat, and Maharaja Jai Singh too, also known as Savai Raja Jai Singh, became the governor of Malwa and Agra. Savai Raja Jai Singh was particularly interested in astronomy and built observatories at Delhi, Jaipur, Ujjain, Varanasi and Mathura. He founded the beautiful city of Jaipur in Rajasthan, which was scientifically planned. This city is called Pink City because of many pink-colored buildings here. One of the most spectacular forts of Jaipur, the Jaigarh Fort, Victory Fort, is situated on a hilltop. The constant disunity among the Rajputs weakened their power. With the rise of Marathas, the Rajput power declined completely. The Marathas under Shivaji posed a great threat to the Mughal Empire. Shivaji was born in 1627 near Pune. His father was a chief in the court of Sultan of Bijapur. His mother Jijabai had a major influence in his life. He learnt horse riding and the art of warfare at a very young age. Being ambitious, he dreamt of building a Maratha empire. In the 17th century, he organized a band of men who were trained at guerrilla warfare. In guerrilla warfare, the armies did not fight face to face, but ambushed the other side suddenly. He used guerrilla tactics to capture the forts. He captured the forts of Torna, Raigad and Purandar. This alarmed the rulers of Bijapur and Mughals and led to a series of confrontations. In 1674, Shivaji proclaimed himself as ruler of the Marathas and took the title of Chhatrapati. The powerful class of Maratha hereditary chiefs called Deshmukhs supported Shivaji. Shivaji collected taxes called Chauth and Sar Deshmukhi from the rulers he subjugated. Chauth was the 1/4 of the revenue and was paid to buy protection from Maratha tax. Sar Deshmukhi was the 1/10 of the revenue which Shivaji demanded. As the self-proclaimed chief headman of the region, he controlled. Like Akbar, Shivaji was a good administrator and a good conqueror. He was assisted by a group of 8 senior ministers called Ashtapradhan. The most important among them was the Peshwa or Prime Minister. He was in charge of finances. The Chitnis was in charge of royal correspondence, and Dabir assisted the king in matters relating to foreign policy. His kingdom was divided into a number of provinces, which were further subdivided into parganas and villages. The Senapati looked after the army, which included infantry, cavalry, artillery, and navy. Shivaji died in 1680. After his death, Aurangzeb killed Shivaji's son, Shambhaji, and captured Shambhaji's infant son, Shahu. Aurangzeb's successors released Shahu, who occupied the Maratha throne. He ruled with the help of his Peshwa, Prime Minister. The Peshwa made the Mughal emperor to recognize Shahu as the rightful ruler of Marathas and allow him to collect Chauth and Sardeshmukhi. Gradually, Peshwa became the real ruler of the Marathas and his post became hereditary. During the course of time, some of the Maratha chiefs like Sindhia in Gwalior, Gaikwad in Baroda, Holkar in Indore, Bhosle in Nagpur became powerful and ambitious. During Shahu's reign, Satara was the Maratha capital. After his death, capital was shifted to Pune. Under the Peshwas, Maratha developed a very successful military campaign. Between 1720 and 1761, the Maratha Empire expanded. Malwa and Gujarat were seized from the Mughals, and Maratha king was recognized as the overlord of the entire Deccan. After raiding Delhi in 1737, the frontiers of Maratha domination expanded into Rajasthan, Punjab, Bengal, and Odisha. But these military campaigns also made other rulers hostile towards the Marathas. As a result, they did not support the Marathas in the Third Battle of Panipat. The Sikhs. After the death of Guru Gobind Singh in 1708, his follower Banda Bahadur led the Sikh struggle against the Mughals. He established his own administration and minted coins in the name of Guru Nanak and Guru Gobind Singh. However, Banda Bahadur was captured in 1715 and executed in 1716. Mughal control over the Sikhs was weakened after the invasion of Nadir Shah and Ahmad Shah Abdali. The Sikhs expanded their rule and now were organized into 12 political units called missals. Each missal was controlled by its chief. The missals were under an organization called the Dal Khalsa, which had an elected leader. The decisions taken at periodic meetings of the Dal Khalsa were regarded as Gurmat, the will of the Guru. Around the end of the 18th century, Maharaja Ranjit Singh united the Sikhs and established the independent state of Punjab. He established one of the strongest kingdoms, as his army was only second best to the British in Asia. He employed Hindus, Muslims, and Sikhs in his administration. So long as he was alive, the British did not attempt to conquer the Punjab. He conquered Kashmir, Peshawar, and Multan. The Jats. Jats consolidated their power under their leader Churaman, who acquired control over the territories situated to the west of the city of Delhi. By the 1680s, they began dominating the region between the two imperial cities of Delhi and Agra. For a while, they became the virtual custodian to the city of Agra. Surajmal was their greatest ruler. Under him, the kingdom of Bharatpur emerged as a strong state. Under his leadership, the Jats successfully resisted the attack by Ahmad Shah Abdali. The Jat state declined after the death of Surajmal in 1763.
The French Revolution. In the various state systems of 18th century India, the common people did not enjoy the right to participate in the affairs of their governments. In the Western world, this was the situation until the late 18th century. The American and French revolutions challenged the social and political privileges enjoyed by the aristocrats. During the French Revolution, the middle classes, peasants, and artisans fought against the special rights enjoyed by the clergy and the nobility. They believed that no group in society should have privileges based on birth. Rather, people's social position must depend on merit. The philosophers of the French Revolution suggested that there be equal laws and opportunities for all. They also held that the authority of the government should come from the people who must possess the right to participate in its affairs. Movements such as the French and American revolutions gradually transformed subjects into citizens. The ideas of citizenship nation state and democratic rights took root in India from the late 19th century. In this class, we have discussed about the Rajaput kings. Raja Jai Singh was the prominent ruler of Rajaputs. The Jaipur was the important city of Rajaputs. It was known as the Pink City. And Guru Gobind Singh was the famous ruler of the Sikh. And Shivaji was the famous ruler of the Maratha kingdom. He assumed the title of Chhatrapati Shivaji. And Suryakumar was the king of Jats. Those things we have seen in this class. Read the textbook carefully, do the exercise given in the textbook, and note down the question answers in your